Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining this week's webinar with the legendary Jeff Lobb. I love Jeff. He's been in every educational thing I've seen about real estate, and I've always been trying to get him on our show and talk to him about all the things that he knows about branding, about getting realtors up to speed and really helping their brands. So thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you for coming to the show, and we would love a quick introduction about yourself.
For sure. Thank you for having me, first of all. So yeah, Jeff Lobb, my company is SparkTank Media and Coach 52. I've been in the business a really long time, and I don't say that just from a perspective, because let's face it, just because you're in the business 37 years like myself, doesn't mean you have all of the knowledge. You still need to stay relevant. So I've been through the roles of an agent, a team. I've run brokerages. And my last venture before starting my own company was the vice president of sales and marketing for a large franchise brand. So we had about 800 offices around the country and North America, basically Canada. So, I like to be able to wear all the hats to help people understand where they are and where they need to go. And that's what we do for a living now, is speak, train, and coach agents and teams. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. I think your wife is also in real estate, right? So I think
yeah, she runs a small boutique brokerage as well in New Jersey.
Wow.
We reside in New Jersey all our lives, 6 kids, kind of not going anywhere fast with the kids until I get them all out of college. But yeah, so we've been here all our lives.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So today we're going to talk about a few things, but the biggest thing that we're going to cover is really about how to really use videos and how to leverage them to really differentiate yourself and your business in this competitive market, right? I mean, everyone is starting to become an agent. I mean, they all missed the boat, but yeah. So we're seeing a lot of new agents joining. They all have hopes. They're trying to get in there and create something and do something different. So today we're going to cover a lot of these topics just to see what we can add into your knowledge and kind of go from there if you're watching this video. So let's get going. So I would ask a series of questions and feel free to just jump in with a different topic and we'll go from there. So we have 10 questions today. And I think we went through the first one, which was introduction. Now let's talk about how do I, as an agent, use the videos to get brand awareness, how to get people to know me. So,
sure.
And what's the recipe? Like I've seen people being intimidated by it. They're like, well, how do I use videos? How do I do this?
It's been a long conversation, literally 10 to 12 years of saying it's time to use video. It's time to use video. And video has evolved a lot. Let's face it, it evolved from long form video of YouTube stuff for 20, 30-minute stuff. But the reality is video of today is a much shorter attention span. Video today has become very short form. YouTube shorts and the TikToks and the Instagram stories and reels. So, I think the challenge real estate agents face is, knowing what to say. They feel always tongue-tied. And there are so many things in real estate to talk about that don't even have to apply just to real estate. It could be about the home, things they could be doing with their home, things they could be doing around their home, being an educator of all things real estate, not just, about the process of real estate. So they get stuck on content, really, Sam. That's the big issue. And then of course can they condense it to 60 seconds or less? That's where they get stuck, right? So we need to help them there. That's where they need help, but that's where the market is. And that's where you should be paying attention.
Yeah, you're right. And before we get started, like with this, we were talking about some of these agents that are so scared of videos, so scared of social media. And I was telling Jeff this story that an agent in an office told the managing broker that FBI told me to stay off the social media, not be there. And what was your response, Jeff?
My response is, what are they, secret agents? Because we're in the most public facing business ever. And I understand the insecurities or a security issue, but look, if we're going to put a home on the market, our job is forward facing to market that home and ourselves to as many people as possible. Now, if you think we're going to have to protect ourselves from social media, what I'm hearing is I'm not going to market myself, because today's marketing is social media. It used to be, let's face it, when I started, it was the phone book, the newspaper, and a sign. And then it evolved to the Homes magazines and then some television. And then, so look, you have a choice to make. No one says you have to be on social media ever, but you are missing a ridiculous amount of market, attention, and customers. And that's a choice you make, right? So, but it is like being a secret agent because you're missing the opportunity.
So you said forward-looking marketing and anything like, so what do you mean by that? So like, I've got this listing. How do I add my extra touch to it? How do I use this home to really get in there and bring one brand awareness for myself to actually market the home beyond just putting it on the MLS?
That's right. So the value of a listing, one thing, I've learned in my career a long time is what I'm really good at and what I'm not. And I really try and hire people that what I'm not good at. But what I was really good at was getting listing inventory. And listing inventory is the catalyst to not only more business, but more listings and more buyers, right? It's permission to market yourself, your brand, and the home. And I think what happens is we just take it for granted and take the easy way out by putting it on an MLS, letting syndication happen, and even when we just came through this couple years of, well, Jeff, the home's only on the market 24 hours or less, so why do I even bother doing an open house? I said, because you're missing the opportunities. You need to do coming soon, 3 days of marketing, social media posts, get advertising out there, open house Saturday, second Sunday, get signs in the ground, get some video out there, and then let it sell in 24 hours. Today's world is starting to balance a little bit more, but if you are not leveraging the prospecting opportunities, the media, social media, the video marketing, and everything else around a listing, you're missing opportunities. And those agents that say, well, Jeff, I don't get enough business, or one listing needs to propel you into more business. Yes, your job is to sell it and get the most for that client. It's got to propel you.
Yeah. So like, it's not just taking pictures. It's not just making a video. You got to really go in there and add something of a value and say, hey, have you seen this golf course next to it? Have you seen this like beautiful creek that's running by? Have you seen these things? Let me show you. Like, these are the amenities. Like, you got this awesome beer place or whatever. Like,
yeah, show me the community I'm buying. Show me the schools I'm buying. And guess what? Every time you share that via video, it's an opportunity for me to brand myself as a local expert. It's more content to be seen. And let's face it, the cost of social media marketing compared to what I used to pay for a full page ad in a homes book at $1,000 a month for 5 listings or 10 listings, social media for the most time, other than ads, is free. It's my time. So yeah, not just sell the home. Show me the community. Show me what I'm buying and show me the lifestyle.
Your lifestyle. That's great. That's awesome. And what is wrong with the way a lot of agents use social media? What do you see that's like the, yeah.
There's and like I'm not a perfect human being when it comes to social media. Everyone claims expert or gurus. I don't like any of those words. What I do know is the business. And what I can tell you is where most people go wrong is all business, no personality, no play of their person. People buy from people. People are the brand. And in order for you to do business with me just posting a just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold is like the definition of insanity. It's repeating the process over and over, getting very few likes, very little engagement, when really people just want to know what.
Like, I'm seeing you posting solds and just listed. I'm asking, gosh, how much money is Jeff making? That's not a good question to be asking, right?
That's true too. Well, I think you need a good hybrid sprinkle of, yes, here is a great, and not even just sold. Tell me a little bit of a story about the sale. Give me a little bit about the emotion. But in the meantime, for people to do business with me and like and trust me, they need to know more about me as a person too. So I'm sprinkling in my personal world, my family, my life, what I'm doing. And when it comes to business, give me something useful. Give me a story about the home. Give me some data that's important to me. Give me something that's going to make me go, wow, I didn't know that. That's really kind of cool, where I look forward to it.
I think that's really cool. And I think another thing is realtors just go in there, post a lot of non-personal stuff. But think of it this way. When was the last time you saw a US president running for office with sunglasses on? That eye contact
Right.
in every picture, in every place that they're sending a message is super important. Like you want to create that eye contact, like in your pictures, in your content. It's super important. It's the thing that really builds trust, right? And I
Right.
think that's really the key thing to kind of go from there. So I always say like listings are great, and they're a great validation that you do business, but it's often sparking the wrong questions, right? Like one is like, is Jeff too good for is Jeff really good? Like, can he help me? Like I'm looking for a 400K condo and he's selling like $4 million homes. I don't know if I should call him. He might
It's
just be too
perception.
rich.
Yeah, like perception. People look, perception is amazing on social. It's what they see and what they hear scarily is what they believe. And there are people, and there's a big article recently too about people creating perception of like this artificial world too. But look, if I was going to run a billboard on a highway, people are going to drive by it every day. They're going to see it, they're going to know me, they're going to get perception, but they don't know me as a person there. They don't get to see my personality. They don't understand, am I a family person? Do I like to go boating? There's zero interest other than just a person. So we have to get people to understand who we are as humans, because that's what creates the connection to the go, man, I don't care. Whenever I have a house to sell, I'm hiring that guy. He connects with me at so many different levels. And that's what we have to work on socials, connecting with people in many different ways other than just real estate.
Yeah, I'm liking the guy, right? Like I like him. Look, he's awesome. He's doing this and that. And I think that's the golden thing about it. So how do we go about building? And I think we've talked about this. So you've generated some leads on social media, you've run some ads, you got Zillow leads, whatever you have.
Yeah.
How do we go about building an authentic relationship with these leads? And I always say there's a key difference between a cold lead and a warm lead, right? So how do we go about that?
Well, look, I think the standard way our people are going is probably too mundane. Email is lost, right? Email, it's easy. I can sit here behind a computer all hours of the night and type, but it gets lost in a million of things. Me personally, it would be right here. It'd be, hey, it's Jeff Lobb. I just got your information. I'm anxious to reach out to you. It's a little bit late tonight. I'll reach out to you tomorrow morning around 9 o'clock. Boom, short video, 30 seconds, name to face, show that I care, and make the connection. Send it by text, because 30 seconds is easy to send by text. Right? That's what I'd be doing to differentiate myself.
That's really interesting. So not even voice messages, like go the extra mile, look nice, and just grab the phone and send them a video message and say, hey, this is, yeah. Like,
well, we have the devices that could do it now. It's easy and MMS and easy to send video messages as long as they're short. Even if some people, and I know people, some of our own coaching clients do this, they even create one that sounds very personal, but is somewhat generic that you can use and just send. Hey, I just got your information from Zillow. Super excited to talk to you tomorrow morning, or tomorrow. I'll give you a call, or whatever it is. And they make it generic enough they can just push and hit send. Although I always prefer personal, but if you have a lot of volume, it creates it's different. Who else is sending my Realtor.com leads and my Zillow leads a quick, hey, it's Jeff Lobb. Just want to put your name to face. Just walking out of a meeting, but anxious to talk to you. I have your information. I'll call you later.
I think
this can do it now. It's always been able to do it, but now it's so easy and it's so much professional based on the quality in today's world. Why not?
So that's awesome. So now we go to the next question, and that is, how do you create new sales opportunities in this changing market? So the market is changing. You're not gonna get buyers looking for you, and then sellers are not having an easy time like they had before. Right. So it's not just about getting a listing now. Like, how do you really go beyond that now, and how do you adapt yourself to this changing market?
Sure. Well, a lot of it is helping create the story and the visibility. The more you're out there, the more people see you, the more they know you're readily available to help them. So we have a lot of clients using, especially Instagram Reels right now, and even really making some strength on TikTok. I mean, Facebook's still a strong platform for sure. And depends on where your audience is. But by doing more, showing you out and about, working in the field, working at what you do, mastering your craft, showing a home that's super unique, shows people that you're always the one that's on the go, working and hustling. And when they ever have a need, you're always the one that they see, right? So so many times in my career, although some of this wasn't born early career-wise, but I leveraged, video via, TV, cable, billboards, that kind of stuff, where people would always say, even if I had never done business with them, I'd walk in the door and they'd go, "Oh my God, I've seen you everywhere. I see you everywhere." And that might have been because I had a wrapped car, or I had a billboard up, or I was running TV ads on the local spots during the day. Like we never knew each other. But when they finally needed me, they called me, and it was always, "I see you everywhere." And I was like, "Really?" And I was taken by surprise because I never met the person. I'm thinking they got my name from a referral. But when the consistency of "I see you everywhere," I'm like, "Really? I'm just curious, where do you see me?"
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't even remember, but they know they just see you everywhere.
It's the old omnipresence technique, right? Like there's even a term for it. Like you have to be present everywhere, like all different channels, right? So just like social media is one, email marketing is another, ads is another way. Like, but get in there, be in the community, do whatever you need to do to be everywhere, to have that omnipresence, right?
In person, in real life, right? Be there.
I think it's really important to talk about classic mistakes as well. So in Vancouver, where I was doing business, we had a really bad market in 2016. So like there were some government interventions and everything else, and then like the market just got shut down like now. And my classic advice and approach was, well, I'm going to cut my marketing and I'm going to go easy because no one is buying and selling. Why would I spend on my marketing when no one's buying and selling? And guess what? 2017 came, the market was hot, and I was out of leads. I was like, okay, well, I'll have to start from scratch now. It's a lot more difficult. Whereas if I had those people ready to go back then, it would have been just boom, 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 buy and go. And it would have been a lot easier if I had these systems in place. And I think that's the hard lesson that I learned the hard way. So so don't drop your marketing. Don't think that you should just like go and focus on something else now that the market is changing. That's what a lot of people do. Don't do that.
And marketing doesn't always have to mean just money spent either. Marketing was, and I won't get into this here, but I actually have a talk I do as a keynote. It's called 7 Streams of People. It's about how do I get in front of different groups of people, networking wise. Networking is marketing. So when you start to belong to groups and organizations of people that like and trust you, whether it's at the school system or whether it's a volunteer thing you're doing, or I'm getting in front of people, building my brand and my reputation as a person, is still marketing, as long as they know you're in the real estate business, but it's done subtly. So very, very proactive, very outbound. And yes, some does cost money, but some of it doesn't either. So don't always just think it's about writing a check. It can be done, just it's work. And you got to go do it consistently.
I think you're nailing it ahead. So now let's talk a little bit about more of that consistency, right? So I get a lot of agents that come to us and they're like, "Hey Sam, I want to go viral. I want to get 1 million views on this video." And I'm like, "When was the last time you posted something?" And they're like, "Oh, 2 years ago." So how do you respond to that?
Oh man, the word viral is funny because sometimes it's the craziest stuff that goes viral. You don't even know how the heck it even happened. You're like, it's some baby that did something online and it's viral. It's look, it's not easy getting viral. And I don't think that should be the goal, is to go viral. I think the goal really is just do a really good job in front of the audience you want to be in front of. That could be 200 people, it could be 2,000 people, but it doesn't mean 2 million. Because let's face it, you really sometimes in most markets, maybe Vancouver, but most markets, you can't serve 2 million people anyway. So it's being really, really good at what you do in front of the audience that matters to you. And if your video content's good and people really like it, they're going to watch it from wherever they are anyway. But let's not worry about that. Let's worry about what your local audience needs. And I think the biggest mistake, Sam, is everyone speaks and does content from what they think they should say. And I'm like, well, stop. No one cares what you think, but sometimes they don't. What do the consumers need to hear? What are they anxious about? What are their minds thinking? And let's talk about ways that we can help them clarify what their minds are thinking, not just what we want to regurgitate, right? The clients that matter, not us. So we got to start thinking, like, what is a homeowner worrying about today? What do they think of? Is it, the interest rates are too high? How's that going to impact the sale of my home? Is that impacting my equity? What should I be doing to save money right now on my house? Is there ways I could save money? And we have ideas to do that. If not, we have partners that know how to do that, right? Mortgage, finance, title, whoever. So You just got to get more
There
creative.
was a really famous series that I saw a while ago, and I think that's a really good one. You can just always bring a friend or a partner that you have and say, I know a guy for that. And like, I know a guy for financing.
100%.
I know a guy for your gutters. I know a guy for, and this could be a short content. It could just be 1 minute. Hey, this is the guy I know for this. And I think that resourcefulness and everything else that you deliver is really the value, because you're actually adding value to me as the audience, right?
Right.
So let's talk about this elephant in the room, and that's the ego of the agents, right? The perfection of videos. Like, this video is not perfect, I'm not posting it. It still needs that like one thing that's not perfect. I'm gonna send it back to the editor, blah 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 blah. So let's talk about that. Like, what is your number one advice for that?
Sure. It goes back to early days of I can't call him a friend, of course, but Gary V, right? Gary Vaynerchuk. I had the pleasure of early days of speaking at one of Gary Vaynerchuk's events in Miami. He did an agent event in Miami at the Hard Rock Stadium. And my takeaway from that was, besides really a lot of great relationships and connections, was no one really cares about the background you're in, if your hair is done right. It's really about, if you just have something valuable to say, they will listen. And take Gary for an example. I mean, I hate to use him, put on, but he's wearing a t-shirt, a ball cap. He's on the street. He's in a taxi. He don't care where he is. He's maximizing his time for sharing content wherever he is. And, you know, I took upon that a lot because I do some stuff from where I'm driving, if I'm on my truck or if I'm pulled over on the side of the road, and people are always like, I see you posted from your truck a lot, or your car or whatever. Not that it's because it's planned. It's where I have 20 minutes of time in my day that I'm not on a Zoom call or in front of a live audience, that I could actually do that. So I do it then, and I could care less if the lighting is perfect or if there's a glare. No one cares. So done is better than perfect. Stop trying to be perfect, because it won't be perfect anyway. Get over it.
Get over it. Yeah, that's a perfect advice. I think done is better than perfect. It's not gonna get perfect.
Never.
Think of, I have to post like 5 contents this week. These 2 weeks, I've got to post like this much content, and that's good, right? And I think the next piece of this puzzle that we were just discussing earlier was, okay, so you're using a tool for automation, and that's great. So you're using a tool, like it could be us, it could be another tool, and that's just posting listings, posting market updates, and so on.
Yeah.
How do we make sure that you're adding that personal touch, like super personalized touch, to the messages, to the to at least I always say, you got to at least post once a week something about you, the person that's out there. Like, it could be you picking up kids from school, it could be you showing a home with a client, it could be any of those, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
If you could add the personal touch of you during the day in your crazy world, even if it's that 5 or 10 second window, like if I was going to share, like, let's face it, data sometimes gets very confusing. If I could have had a simple piece of data, like a really cool, like, here's 2 things that are happening in the market I really wanted you to pay attention to, instead of just like sending that by email or just getting lost, like I would have no problem being in the car, picking up my kids from school, having them in the background with my phone up going, hey, it's Jeff, school just ended, it's 3:05. I got 2 minutes of something I want to share with you real quick. Check it out, here it is. You know what? People are going to be more interested in like, oh, my kids are in the back. Oh my God, I didn't realize you had a boy. Like, that is so much more engaging to then share something of importance. And I really wouldn't care if my kids are in the back or if the dog jumps up, because
I can testify to that. I've been following you for the past little while on Instagram. Like, these are interesting stuff. I'm like, oh, so like, yeah, these are Jeff's kids. He's going to this place, and I think that's the key, right? Just building that connection. I think
it's their life. I mean, you know, the other challenge you've probably heard much objection-wise was, you know, I don't want people to know about my personal life. Okay, well, guess what? You're in a pretty personal business. Now, I'm not saying you have to share everything about your personal life. There is that area, but the commonalities of who you are as a person, if you want to really create connection of anything in sales, you got to find that common ground, right? What do we have in common? Is it pets? Is it animals? Is it kids? Is it maybe it's real estate investing we have in common? Picture it as if if you and I met up at the bar or for a cup of coffee. What do we have in common? So we need to get that through. And if you don't, again, remember, no one says you have to, but you're kind of a secret agent.
I think that's a golden nugget there. So I get a lot of agents that come to me and they're like, well, Sam, I just had 200 views on this video. This is not working for me. And I got like 5 likes or 10 likes or 20 likes. And it's not as much as the one and to this date, my most liked post is like 700 or 800. And that's with my wife, like at a New Year's Eve. Of course, that gets a lot of likes. But are we counting likes or are we counting views and how many eyeballs we got throughout that week?
Yeah, it gets, everyone has this magic persona of having, hundreds of thousands, a million, like, like the Instagram models, right? Like,
yeah,
it's too much. Unfortunately, there is a lot that can get us to think that way. It is easy. Especially I have, kids that are ranging from 11 to 22. So their perception of if I don't get 500, 1,000 views, like I'm miserable. Like it's a weird expectancy. However, I'd still rather have 200 views of people who might actually do business with me than 2,000 views of people all over the world. Not saying they couldn't invest in something with me, but realistically, I'm not going to do business with day to day ever. So, I think we get caught up in the numbers. And if you don't love sometimes the result of that, try making it more personal. Try doing something a little quirkier. Try getting a little more human and see if you could change that. Do a little testing on that. But how hard would it be to get 200 people in a room at one time? Think about that.
You got to pay thousands of dollars to get them 200. Like you could do a sponsorship of an event or whatnot, and it's going to cost you that much, right?
I can't get 100 family members to show up for a birthday party. Like, how do you get that many people together in you can't. So we take 100 as a lot, but think about it. How hard is it to get 100 people together to see something you're doing? So while I'd love to have a lot more views from people who matter, we have to keep that in perspective versus millions across the world. I'm not trying to be an Instagram model. I'm not trying to be a guru. I'm trying to be a better real estate professional, a better sales professional. So it depends on who your audience is.
I think you're nailing it in the head there. And then the last piece, like the last secret that you want to share with these agents about branding, about outbound reach, what would it be?
Yeah, this is a critical time right now. And I say critical because yes, the market did shift, but you know what? Markets always shift. So if you're new to the business, get used to it. It's not going to stop shifting. It's going to just keep evolving. We've been through many highs and lows. We've survived some of them, most of them.
Right? You've seen it like
I tell people all the time, Sam, and I don't even know if you know this, I've crashed and burned in my career at least once, crashed, burned, everything gone. And I rebuilt it back. So I am the one that, and we can always tell that story another day, but I am one that can tell you that sometimes is you have to learn from the people who have been through it a little bit. And here's what I can tell you now is you can't stop marketing. You've got to be proactive. Sitting around on email and searching MLS is only going to kill time. The people that we coach, I could tell if they're going to be successful or not based on the calendar that they have in their phone. If you show me your calendar, I could tell you if you're going to be successful or not. Why? Because I want to see how much time you have blocked out to find new business. How much time is in there that says, I'm going to go prospect my farm area. I'm going to go out to a new networking group and network. I'm going to spend time taking financial people out to lunch. How much time is right now in that calendar? And if I look at most calendars, it's got a couple showings and it's busy stuff and an inspection, all good. But what are you doing in between all that? And we always typically stop doing the uncomfortable stuff. Uncomfortable stuff is where the money's at. So stronger marketing, more prospecting, more than you've ever done before. It's going to be harder than you've ever done before. I am sorry to say that, but that's the truth. Because here's what's really going to happen. And I just don't want it to be you listening. There's going to be a cleansing of 300,000 or more real estate agents that either go to referral or out of the business.
Wow.
And I just don't want it to be you. I don't want it to be you.
300,000. That's
NAR says more. I said initially 250. I've raised it to 300. NAR says more. They said their numbers are what, 1.6 million in members. I think they said 20 to 30% is their expectation to maybe not just out of the business, but at least down to a referral status, or I'm not going to be a full-time person anymore. I'm going to get a real job, which, what is that today? This is the most lucrative career you can have. However, it's not easy. And unfortunately, if you came through a little of the past years, it was still difficult because it was difficult. But this is where the money gets made, because when this market continues to shift and you have your foundation built of clients and referrals and people sending you more business, your business will flourish. It'll be the domino effect. But unless you do the work now and continue, you're going to be a statistic. And I just hate to say that, because my job is to help build people up, help grow them, help teams build, right? So I can only tell you, though, what is going to happen if we don't do it, because we've seen it before. So you need good mentorship. You need good training. You need to do proactive work. And you need to go find people every day to talk to. And that should be your daily goal. So
that's awesome. I think that's a great finish to this webinar. And thank you so much, Jeff. Like, I know you had like a million things to do today, but you chose to be on this show, and I really appreciate it. All of our users and audience also appreciates all your expert advice on this. And you've seen it all, so your advice is the one that really counts. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for joining, and everyone else, thank you so much for watching this. We'll be back with another guest in about 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sam.